Welcome to Small Business, Big Network, the podcast for small business owners who want big results from their networking. I'm Liz Drury, a freelance voiceover artist who knows that if you're not working, then networking could help. Dave Castro is the founder of Icebrekr, an app which allows you to easily connect with people at networking events. It's something that would be super useful at really large events like conferences. Thank you very much for being my guest on the podcast today, Dave.
It's great to be here. I'm super excited to be invited.
Now, I'm sure people can tell already that you're not from the UK, so tell us whereabouts in the world you are.
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
The home of country music.
Yes, and I do like country music. And interestingly enough, my grandfather, I have a grandfather that was born in like the Appalachian Mountains and played the banjo before he got his hand, most of his hand blown off in World War II. He was on the beach of Normandy.
Wow.
And survived obviously because I'm here.
Yeah.
But and then another grandfather that was born in Puerto Rico. But so I have this. I'm here in Nashville, home of country music, and I salsa dance.
That's a great combination. I can picture that.
Yeah.
So before we talk about what you currently do, let's kind of delve a bit into your background. So what was it that you went to university to study, and what did you think that you were going to be doing when you grew up?
Yeah, I actually wanted to be a lot of things, but I was going to do software development. And back when I wanted to do software development, there wasn't a whole lot of options. And so the professor I had, I guess he was a professor, adjunct teacher, whatever he was teaching, was Pascal programming, and it was not his forte. So he knew his stuff, but he could not teach. And I was like, there's no way I can get through 4 years of this. And so the whole idea was royalties and the whole thing. And what I ended up doing is pivoting to marketing and then general studies a little bit later on, and joined a startup software company as a salesperson, and then technology sales became my career. That was like how I initially got started, was the whole, entrepreneur, build something cool, and get royalties on it. So make millions of dollars doing that. And so working on it.
Now, I know you've worked for a number of different organisations over the course of your career. Has there been a common thread in the roles that you've done for them?
There has been, actually. It's pretty wild. It seems to be that I always end up in white space where it's new. Yeah. So the startup that I started with, it was a first of its kind software product. Most software products, I guess, when they get started, well, they're not all first of its kind, but this one was. And then so the company that bought us had me in sales in a region or in an industry kind of niche that I was going after that had, pretty much was virgin territory. Nobody had bought our stuff yet. And then literally every single role in sales I've ever had since then has always been in a new territory. It's crazy. And then here I am, entrepreneur, making something straight up new, right? Yeah. I gotta have something brand new, slate, people have never heard of before. Sucker for punishment,
And so what was it that made you decide to kind of go your own way and set up your own business?
So I actually when I moved down to Nashville, it was kind of a family decision, and wasn't a money decision. And the company that I moved here with was great. I actually, it wasn't my, I learned pretty quickly that it wasn't my preference. Mm-hmm. It was tech, but it wasn't enterprise software sales. And I had been selling to the federal government, mostly out of Washington, D.C., where I grew up and where I had lived. And so pretty quickly I was pining to get back into that world, but there's other people that are up there that they would rather hire than somebody that's way down in Nashville. So I was talking to a friend who had a similar feeling, and he was selling a healthcare product at the time, and I was like, we gotta like, I'm ready to get into. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, as I mentioned to you, like my whole starting college, what I thought I was gonna do, and then being in technology, especially software sales, it was, all these pieces of the puzzle were all coming together, and I was like, we got to do our own thing. And I had an idea, but it would have needed a lot of investment, and we had no experience to tell investors about. So we came up with something that was a little bit easier. We had customers that we pitched the idea to, and long and short of it is they basically paid for us to build it, and then we went around and sold it to a bunch of other people too. So it was great. But that's how I got in. I almost forced myself to do what I actually really deep down wanted to do. So
yeah, and I think you've founded a number of different companies now, haven't you?
Yes. That's the thing about sales is, it's a really great launching point to get into entrepreneurship. Sales is the lifeblood. Sales is business. Just adjacent needs, adjacent companies, or niches rather, and then it really is super important, obviously, who you surround yourself with. To get started with. But I've been super lucky. It's been fun.
And so what has happened to those other companies that you've started? I think they've been bought out by bigger people.
Yes,
is that right?
Yeah. I've had a couple exits. The software company, my first entree into the entrepreneurship world as a co-founder, was bought by a company called ShareCare, which is owned by the presidential candidate, or was President Dr. Oz.
Right.
So that was cool. My co-founder there just did a phenomenal job, getting the company to that point and managing. He was the CEO. He was a subject matter expert. I was kind of like the sales and idea guy.
Yeah.
Rolled just before that acquisition, but had equity in there. And then had the data analytics company, and that was bought by a local firm here in Nashville, pretty big, well-known firm, and it's going strong. It's really cool to bump into people that I've been a coworker for a long time, then to be an employer, and then bump into people who, you have been an integral part of their journey is just so much. It's super gratifying.
Yeah.
It's really cool. But yeah, it's great to see some of these, ventures, doing well and taking off, and even like going and looking in some of the web pages that you built are there. So, your words, your pitches, even some of the screens of the product are still like the way you had designed it. That's super cool.
Yeah.
And then there was one I was really proud of, super excited about. It was a data analytics boot camp that we did, and the first cohort, we had about, less than 10, but I would say at least 5 of those students are just crushing it in the market right now, and super gratifying again just to see their success, see them speaking on panels and stuff like that.
Yeah, brilliant. So tell me about your current business. What is it and how did it come about?
So I have been in sales, obviously, my whole career. And if you do in networking, right? So networking and sales
Mm-hmm.
go hand in hand,
Yeah.
and what you find is most salespeople they like meeting people, right?
Yeah.
They're on the extroverted side, and we're all on a spectrum, but I'm on the extroverted side of the spectrum,
Yeah.
and so I do love a good conversation. I love speaking with great humans, but when you're there for a purpose, and you've got a quota, and you've got you know you're trying to get your return on your investment of time and energy and money or whatever it is that you spent for these couple hours or this conference or whatever it is. And what you find is that you you often walk away with a feling of, man, did I really meet everybody that would be an ideal connection for me? Who did I miss? And sometimes if you see your competitor talking to somebody, oh man, he's talking to the person I need to be talking to. And then there's times where there's like the serendipity where you meet somebody and it's just phenomenal. And it's like, I just, you just thank God that you happen to bump into this one person in the sea of people.
Yeah.
That 1% to 2% of the, of the crowd that you did meet happened to be one of the ideal connections you made. So anyways, at some point I had sold my last, I worked myself out of a job, I guess. And then I was also divorced, and then I'm in a town that is not my hometown.
Yeah.
So, and those business connections, they're not like necessarily people I'm hanging out with, and so that need to connect with people effectively, efficiently, and the right people was like top of mind. Now I'm a tech guy, and I'm always like cataloging in the back of my head. Cool tech and stuff that I think, about. And I'm driving down the road and people are flying by me at like 80 miles an hour. But it's an old car. Okay. So I'm connecting my phone to my, radio, my Bluetooth.
Yeah.
And I'm picking up everybody else's phone.
Yeah.
As they're flying by me. And then I just kind of, you pull that string and think about it some more. And it's like, there's something called a universal unique identifier, right? It's like the social security number, basically, of the radio signal.
Yeah.
And that's tied to the person who uses the phone. The phone never separates from them, probably, at any point of the day, more than 6 feet, right? It's like an appendage.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes like clear. Okay, so we can build a tool around this that people opt into. They share what they want to share, and we just created Icebrekr out of that concept, basically. So now not only can you know the room based upon what people are willing to attach to this identifier, right? That's a radio signal that only works within eyeball distance, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, obviously, you can filter it. So that's how Icebrekr basically was created.
Yeah. And it's an app, right? Is it, that goes on your phone?
It's an app, yeah. So that's my latest venture. It's called Icebrekr. It's spelled differently. It's Icebrekr. So first two E's, no a-hole. That's what I say. Icebrekr. And it's a networking app that enables folks to make the connections that matter, and for introverts to kind of know the room and like get some like, okay, this person's great, I'm gonna walk up and talk to this person, right?
Yeah.
So and then you just connect with everybody via their LinkedIn as well, very easily. It has a digital business card too, so if you want to do the whole share the contact information, it works. But concept is, you walk into an event, you've got your keywords in the app, you know what your ideal connection looks like. And then if they're in the room, obviously the event host would be like, hey, we're using Icebrekr. Or, at some point in the future, people are going to use it expecting other users to be around. Yeah. But you walk into that room and it'll buzz you when your key connection is nearby. Or an Icebrekr user is nearby. It's up to your settings, but how you want it. But like the idea being you can immediately say, oh, you know what, Liz, she's a podcast host. I want to go talk to her.
Yeah.
And you walk right up, and start the conversation.
Yeah. So are you partnering with event organizers to get people on board with the app?
Yes, exactly. Yep. Event organizers is ideal because, they're able to maximize the return on investment of their attendees' time. And then within the app, there's, you can put your agenda, itinerary, speaker bios, and, even sponsors. You could, add that value to your sponsors. So that I would say more than 50% of the value these days for attendees is the networking, because you can get so much content in other places. They're there because they already read these people's books or already know who they are, or follow their articles or whatever. But so these attendees' eyeballs are going to be right on your ad, right? Yeah. And they can click the button right to your call to action to sign up for your thing or whatever it is. So there's value that hosts can provide to sponsors as well as their own stuff. But really hoping to be a inexpensive and valuable tool for those events.
Yeah. So how long has the app been in existence now, and what kind of feedback are you getting from people?
I got great feedback. I think so. We put it out into the wild last year, and then because of the technology on it, it needs to be tuned performance-wise, right, and observed in the wild in real life with real people using real phones and all those things. So last year was a lot about getting it out there and watching people use it and improving the performance. This year, it's about getting event hosts on board, right? So we are still improving the UI and those type of things, but conceptually, 99 point whatever, 100%, shall we say, people love the concept, and then the feedback from events that have used it are great. And I really need to get some more videos of the actual attendees. That actually is probably easier. I've spent a lot of time, or I've got a few videos of event hosts, but it's been good feedback.
Yeah. And so what kinds of events has it been used at so far?
Everything from a small, when I say small, I'm thinking 20 something group. And in that context, you all show up, you can, again, you'd all show up on your discovery screen, and then you'd connect with each other's LinkedIn easily and their social, and then you see their elevator pitch and all that stuff. So I would say even something like a BNI, it's valuable for, things of that, like that. And then to a large gathering where there's, the bigger the group is, the more valuable it is, to be honest with you, because I could walk from one side of the auditorium to the other, and my phone will buzz, right? It'll notify me when I'm walking by somebody that would be an ideal connection for me. And if I want to, I can just pull it out and take a look and see who's there. So it's been used in, events of several hundred. We've got over 1,000 attendee event coming up soon, which again, just the product will be more valuable the bigger the event is.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that. I mean, like you were saying, you without something like this, you walk into a big event, you haven't got a clue who's there. I mean, even if you've got, the host has given you a list of who's there, you still don't know what they look like half the time. And you don't know who it is you're looking out for. So
right.
This sounds brilliant.
Are they there? Have they walked out early?
Yeah. Did they turn up?
Are they just in the bathroom and they're going to be back? Who knows? Or is there a picture update? Like I've had coffee with somebody that I met, or connected with on LinkedIn, and did not look like the LinkedIn picture.
I think that's happened a lot recently, hasn't it? Where over the pandemic we were meeting people for the first time on Zoom, and people don't look quite the same in real life as they do on Zoom.
Yeah.
And you can't tell how tall they are either.
That's true. Oh yeah. So I'm short, and I was the president of the student body at a community college up in
Yeah.
Maryland, where I came from, and I had these. We just got lucky because I think the photographer was a friend of mine. We weren't like anything special, but at any rate, whatever angle he did, everybody thought I was this tall guy. It was the funniest thing. Like, yeah.
So, what are the next steps for Icebrekr? Where do you see it going next?
To the moon. We I don't know if anybody listening to this has any connections at South by Southwest, but we should be over there. My current plan is we're marketing and hitting distribution pretty significantly, and obviously hope for some virality, but I think a couple big events would be phenomenal, so where is it going? It should be a no-brainer solution for the average event who doesn't even have something, with itinerary, sponsor capabilities, all that stuff, and then the value it brings to attendees. It should be a no-brainer, and there's a freemium version of it. There's some monetization that obviously we do, but it's the value would be phenomenal for any event, especially if you don't have an event app.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think looking for some distribution, getting some eyeballs by being at some of these big events, and I think the future looks really bright. Got a lot of people excited.
Yeah, lots of potential there for sure. So finally then, Dave, if people want to know more about Icebrekr, what is the best place for them to find you?
Icebrekr.com, and that's again ICEBREKR.com. That's the best place to go, I would say, if you want to download it. There's like 1,000 things in the stores that have some kind of different spelling or take on Icebrekr, but we'll get some SEO in there, make it easier. It'll pop right up, but in the app stores as it's growing downloads. But ICEBREKR.com, and then Instagram, ICEBREKR, Threads, Twitter. But the website, there's a way to reach out to me.
Yeah.
I'd love to chat. I'd love to support any events. And so right now I'm feeling super generous, and love to make your events successful. More successful. I'm sure they're successful already.
Brilliant. Well, I will put the website address in the show notes so people can find you easily. And just thank you so much for chatting to me today.
Liz, thanks so much. Great talking to you.
Thanks for listening to Small Business, Big Network. If you found this podcast useful, please do rate, review and subscribe. And don't forget to share it with the rest of your network too.